We did share a free session a couple of days ago called Remembering Beloved Relationship as a Possibility. And that's on our YouTube channel now, the Omaji and Daria YouTube channel. And you can go watch the replay if you haven't seen it. But when we link into this idea of beloved relationship, it's really where we're going as a humanity. And what's being invited to be birthed at this time, if you will, are the ways of being, the remembering of the ways of being in beloved relationship. Like, how do we function as that? And so the first step is to remember that it's possible to engage in beloved relationship, despite maybe what we've experienced in the past and in other lifetimes. And so this series is really meant to support the healing of past where it didn't go so well, perhaps, and do the energetic cleanup around beloved relationship, activate the vibrations of the lessons so that we can move into graduate literally into a new curriculum regarding relationships and begin to embrace and practice using the beloved relationship templates and grids that function from the higher level of consciousness and that function from a different agenda. It's like they're very different. It's a very different type of relationship than what most of humanity thinks of as a loving relationship. And I'll give an example. So most of humanity thinks of relationship as, I'm going to find someone that's going to make me happy, or I'm going to find someone that I can make happy, and then we'll be happy together. And the issue with that assumption, it's kind of the underlying assumption, it could be happy, it could be loved, it could be free. I'm going to help them feel free. I'm going to help them feel safe. I'm going to help them feel supported. I'm going to help them feel like they have value. Then what that does is that sets you up to be the source for them. And if we're doing it both ways, if we're saying they're going to make me happy, they're going to make me feel like I have value, they're going to appreciate and love me, then we're making them the source of that love, that appreciation, that freedom, that safety, whatever it is. Could be all of the above. And when we engage in relationship that way, we set ourselves up for discordant experiences because nothing outside of us could ever be the source. Just not. That's not the design. We're going to let that land. And that includes experiences, maybe ideals that we have of what our life should be like, that we've maybe created a vision board around, and there's nothing wrong with that, but saying, when I get there, then I'll be happy. So we make that experience the source of our joy and our happiness, which again is external. So then we put our reference points externally, and we literally take our energetic straw and we source it external, and we're trying to suck the juice of the connection or the love or the freedom out of that external, i.e. source, like not really source, that we're trying to make the source. And it never works. It never sustains very long, because that external person or experience or thing can never, ever play the role of source for us, no matter how much we want it to. No matter how much they may want to be the source for us, they can't be. Eventually, what happens in that type of interaction, if we're making someone else the source or they're making us the source or both, is eventually resentment starts to build and dissatisfaction. And, oh, this must not be the right person for me because they can't be this, this, and this for me. And what we would say in a very radical but loving and compassionate way is they were never meant to be that for you. And we would encourage you to begin to lean back into your wellspring of source that resides within you, to source all those things that we're taught, we're conditioned to place on the relationship, or to place on the other, or to place on an external experience or happening. When I get the job, the perfect career, I'll be fulfilled. I'll have work. I'll have joy. I'll be safe. I'll be supported. When I have this much money in my bank account, I will da da da. So we give the power to that external thing or condition or person to be the source. And energetically, we give responsibility along with it for them to provide for us. And when we give away responsibility and we're no longer holding it for ourselves at the level of our higher selves, that's when we're out of the sovereignty. We're no longer in our own lane energetically, and we start to literally run the horizontal cords and lines of energy to things, people, places, circumstances, and we begin to be very empathically impacted by all their stuff. So we're not just now feeling our world and our issues and what we need to work on as a soul or as a body deva. We're now compounding that with all this other stuff that isn't even ours to do and have, which creates massive levels of wonkiness, frustration, resentment, anger, all kinds of stuff. And so then relationships explode or implode because we literally foundationally entered into it from a place of separation-based experience. And therefore, we're going to get what we signed up for. We're going to get and garner disconnection and frustration and not aligned, not empowered, not free, not safe, not supported. Eventually. So at first it might look like this beautiful thing because for a while we can kind of contort ourselves a certain way to be the source for another, but it can only last so long, and then the wonkiness ensues. The other thing that can happen is because we're wanting for them to be a certain way, we can literally take our attachment and place it on them, and then they can empathically feel us trying to control them, which then creates resistance, and they can push back and pull away. So there's all kinds of layers to it. We're going to dive into all of that in the series. I didn't even mean to talk about it that much, but it just wanted to come through. So that, in a nutshell, is what we're going to unpack in the masterclass that starts next Sunday on the 13th, and it's all about releasing the blocks to the optimal beloved relationship. And this will translate, it's literally reweaving of the grids and healing of the old, like what's tying up the loose ends of the past so you can move on and graduate into the new. It's like a new curriculum for growth and evolution where we get to evolve from a place of connection and joy and love and freedom and engage in relationship, not just with a significant other, but with ourselves, with life, with Gaia. It's like we're going to be running all new relationship grids so that we begin to bloom from that place. And we have the foundation for success in relationships versus because we're in alignment with the divine design versus, oh, I'm going to keep doing learning in the separation consciousness ways of being in relationship that are discordant, but they bring stuff up, and then I can grow, shift, and evolve, and I can use the relationship as a way to grow, shift, and evolve myself, but then that's going to be a little bit struggle-based. And because we're at this precipice and this relaunch point, literally into a new earth, new world, we have the opportunity to retire the struggle-based ways of being and ways of evolving. And so the beloved relationship is kind of the umbrella, if you will, for all relationships. It's the templates and grids for, okay, new earth grids, how are we functioning in relationship from a place of oneness? Very different way of being. Very, very different. And again, it comes from this foundation of deeply honoring and revering free will. So you are invited to join us for that. And if you want to check out the free transmission we did, which is very different from what we just shared, I might just clip this little snippet and post it actually out on YouTube, because it was a really good overview of some of the things we're going to look at and why. It's being called forth right now. We're just ready for a reset in how we engage with one another and with ourselves. And most of the time, we're looking for someone or something outside of us to meet a need. And at first, it sounds really weird to say, oh, wait, I can go into my river of light, my calm of light, and activate love or the connection or the safety or the support that I'm actually after. And then it can reflect into my experience more, because I'm going to the source of the reflection to tweak things instead of trying to change the mirror, the reflection in the mirror. At first, it sounds weird to talk about it that way. And the body deva might even go into a little bit of, oh, but if I don't try to get it from them, I don't get to have it. Or if I don't try to get it within a community of people, like this community is responsible for making me feel safe and supported. If I don't do that, then I won't have it. And that's actually not true. But it's this idea of whatever we've wired into in consciousness is what we're going to experience until we rewire and relink what's running really in the background, the beliefs, the grids, the agreements in consciousness.